All right, so thank you everyone for joining today's Friday Spotlight feature. Um, Today we're going to be discussing about student work placement optional module within the meshed platform. I am Soumya, your implementation consultant, and today's agenda basically is to go over what the student placement module is and how you can utilize this feature within the system. So the student work placement module is an optional module, and we would cover some setup or the configurations that are required. We'll go through key functionalities and what are the best practices for using the modules effectively. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, if we have any questions regarding this module, we can discuss that at the end of the session, just to repeat. But if you can put them through in the chat, and if we cannot go through those in today's session, we'll have them covered, reach out to you to provide you with the answers. Okay. Now, before we jump into what student work placement optional module within the system is, I would just like to go through the importance of placements. Now, why is placement important for the students, right? So we know that whatever we learn, if they are put into practice, they would be easier to learn. You would get an experience about it. So it's providing a hands-on industry experiences. Now, work placement offers students the chance that they can apply whatever they have learned in the classroom to the real world environments. And they are often a part of vocational education, and they are critical for compliance and learning outcomes. Right. Now, managing them effectively within the system, within the mesh platform, ensures the quality education delivery and also aligns with the industrial experiences for the students. One of the example that I have added in here, and you can see within the slide, is a Diploma of Community Service course. Now, some of you may have these courses offering to the students, some of you may not have, but there are list of courses provided by government that has to be done, that has a work placement to be done to ensure the completion of the course. Now, particularly Diploma of Community Services requires 200 hours of supervised work placement. They would go on a field, they would complete their work and basically have the provider to mark them completed successfully for that course. Now, jumping into what student work placement module actually is for the meshed system. It's an optional module in meshed platform, so not everyone of the users may see this within their system. If you have requested Meshed to activate this module as a requirement because you offer work placement courses, you would be able to see the feature within the system. If you are not offering, or if you have started offering the work placement courses, then you may not, as you may not see this, you can always request to Mesh to be able to have the module activated in the system. Right, so what optional module does is it provides you the end-to-end management of student work placements. Now, from identifying which are the courses that are work placement, what are the subject that requires a work placement, and be able to track any activities or work placement informations of the students within the system. Now, it also helps you track any progress of the student in regards to work placement. Let's say a student is doing Diploma of Community Services course, and he or she is required to do 200 hours of work placement. If you have placed that student for a work placement, they have to go on a field to complete certain criteria as work, as hours. They would have a whole lot of details. For example, there is a document, there is information about how much they have done or what are yet to be done. So all of those details can be not configured, but be able to record them within the system, right? So that will be able to that you will be able to see what are the courses that are work placement, who are the students who are doing the work placement, how much of placements are yet to be done for their students, if they have attended, how many hours that they have attended. So those whole tracking of the progress along with the course and the subject within the system is provided by the student work placement module. Now, before you are able to record all of that student for the course, there are some minor configurations that you would require to do within the system. Within the slide, I've put in a configuring course and subject, but there are also employer side of things that needs update, and we'll kind of go through that in progress. So when you're adding a course within the system, you click on add new course, you will be able to see this, I wouldn't say icon, but information that says has work placement. If the course has a work placement, you would be able to tick yes. As you do so, you will also see work placement hours field appearing, asking you to put numbers so that you can record how many hours you can have for this particular course work placement. Now, this icon or this option will only appear if you have the module activated within the system, right? So if I show you this within the system itself, which I'll just flip the screen a little bit here and then search for that course. Now, this one's the test site. The reason that I've opened this is just to show you how it looks like from the system point of view. As you add a course, or as you've already added a course, you would be able to click on edit and be able to see has work placement field. You would tick yes, it would show work placement hours. If you would tick no, you would basically not see that option, and then you just save it, right? This is when you are updating the existing course. But when you are adding a new course, for example, you would click on add new course, you would still see this field and be able to select yes and enter the numbers, which is for your WP work placement hours. This is ideally where you do the setup for the course. And it's quite straightforward when you're adding a course for the vet course, especially. Those are the informations to configure, right? Now, once you've done this part, and when you are linking your subjects for that particular course within the system, you would also be able to see work placement is required checkbox option for you to tick, depending on whether that subject particularly needs this to be ticked, right? So you would go on a course subject, you click on edit subject term and be able to tick or untick depending on the scenario. Now, this is where the subject would require some work placement. So I have ticked in as yes here, right? So if we go through the system again on this, we'll hit onto course subject, search for that course in here. There's quite a bit of courses in here to go, but I should just find it out. See it's CH Diploma of Community Services. Now, when you're adding the subjects or basically linking the subjects to the course, you would be able to click on Edit Subject Term and be able to see this mark yes or no, depending on the subjects that will be work placement. So in this scenario, it would be yes, you click on Update Details. As you do that, you will also see work placement column that appears ticked or unticked based on the scenario of the subject. Now, this one's on the course and the subject label. As I mentioned to you earlier, you would also need to add employer within the system to be able to link this employer to the student's course at the later stage when you're enrolling those students into the courses. Now, employers can be companies who provide the work placements for the students, and you would be able to, when you are adding the activity details, when you are linking the subjects to the courses to the students, this employer would later on come into play, right? Now, this one's quite straightforward. Under the admin, you would see manage employer as a drop down, sorry, as a sub option in there. Once you go within the manage employer page, you will be able to add the details of the employer. Now, if I just toggle this between the system and then show you where exactly it would be under the admin, you would see manage employer in this drop down. As you go within the manage employer, you would be able to add new and basically add the details in here. As you add it, this will just list them down within the manage employer page. Now, these are pretty much the setup part, I would say. Once the work placement module is activated, and if the student enrolled in the work placement course, you will be able to see the icon that says work placement on this list of icons on the top of the page under student profile summary. The work placement action icon would allow you to go within the page and be able to add more relevant details. This slide here shows the initial page, which is student profile summary. You click on this icon and then shows the page that says work placement. Now, this is where you can add work placement details for the students once the student is enrolled into the course and the relevant subject. Now, if I again toggle between the system to show you how it looks like, just grab this gender student who is currently enrolled into Diploma of Community Services course, and that has been marked as work placement. Yes, the student profile summary would show you work placement. If I click on this icon, it will take me to work placement page. By default, of course, the page is going to be empty, but I have added certain details in here. You can click on add work placement, which is create icon, to add more details on the relevant subject. This is where you can select your employer that you've added earlier and add the work placement from and to dates with more details in the section. Now, you would also be able to see, once you've added that, you will be able to see more details if you have activity added to that, and which I'll go next. Now, recording and modifying the student activities, which I just spoke to you about, once you have head on to student placement action icon and added the work placement details, you would be able to tick this small checkbox that says add activity. The relevant information will pop up in this section for you to record, for example, who the contact person is, what the activity type would look like, has a drop-down option for you to select, what the activity name is, and all of that details. Now, if there is any minutes that you need to put on based on the duration, you would put under the duration field here. Any notes to be added, or if there are relevant files that you would need to upload for that student's work placement activity. You can further, as you have added, you can further edit, modify, make changes, or delete those activity as needed. Now, this one can be done from individual as well as bulk page. The particular screen here I showed is student individual page, and we'll go on to next slide for the bulk page. Before I do that, I'd like to show you how that looks like again in the system. So once you have added your work placement, for example, within this create, if you click on create add activity, you will see more information to add down here. Now that's what I've done to add more activity for the placement, work placement. You would be able to collapse and expand as needed. This is a new activity that has been added. Now, if you'd like to add more within the same work placement that you've added, you would be able to add more from this icon that says add new activity log. You would be able to click on the added one to view, edit, modify as it is needed. Now, throughout the placement of the students, these are the sections where you will be logging the activities, including the daily task, any hours that they have attended, and any feedback that they have been provided by the supervisor, right? So this provides a visibility and supports the reporting for the audits or accreditation. So if you have audit going on to see more details about what the activities the students has done in regards to the work placement, you will be able to provide all of these details. You can also export these details to Excel sheets. So having that information recorded within this system or the page itself allows you to provide the visible information about the work placement. Now, as I mentioned, this one's an individual page. If I head on to next slide, this one says a bulk page. Under the compliance, if we go through work placement log, you'll be able to see similar page, but we'll have list of students appearing in here based on the filter that you will use. If I'll show you within the system, compliance and work placement log, this is where you will be able to add the course. So this one I'm looking for diploma of let me find the course in here. Or maybe I'll just do all courses. This one's the Diploma of Community Services. Let's see if I can pull that through. 2020. So this one brings out basically all the students in here. Now you can record or basically delete, update all of that details from your end using both the individual or the bulk page. Now, as we record the activity or basically the log for the students' work placement, you can also record the attendance for the students' work placement. Now, this one would be under your compliance, attendance management, and as you have work placement module enabled, you will see one more page that says work placement attendance entry. So I'll take you on this page as well. Compliance, attendance management, and then you will have work placement attendance by search by vet course, Diploma of Community Services, get the list, and you will be able to get the list here as you have for this particular week and the semester you're looking for. The attended hours and the class hours is where you can record the attendance for the student. Now, this is how you get the entire life cycle of the student to be able to enroll them into the courses that has a work placement subject and be able to record all the activities done for that student's work placement, along with providing them with the attendance. Now, as we move ahead, what's the advantage of the student work placement, which we have gone through those slides and kind of discussed briefly on what you can do to do a better organization or tracking of the students' placements. This will benefit the providers to be able to see and track if there are any work placement related informations that needs to be done for that particular student or not. So it ensures the regulatory requirement that they are met, and it also provides a clear audit trail. So if someone's checking your system to be able to understand more on the work placement side of details, it would be able to provide you more information. So efficient way of tracking all of these details provides you a streamlined compliance, and then also provide the end user with the clear visibility of this, the requirement of the student. As we kind of complete the configurations and the cycle of the work placement module, I've just put in a tips for the effective use. Now, there are 3 points. Keeping the employer data up to date. You may have added employers a long time ago. You want to make sure you go onto admin, manage employer page to ensure that they are still with you guys. They are the correct employers, that the students are getting linked. So making sure the employers' data are up to date. When you're adding a new course within the system, make sure if they have work placement, then you tick them as yes, provide the number of hours that are required for the work placement. And when you're adding the subjects to the courses, make sure that the relevant subjects are ticked with has placement within the system. Now, if all of the records are set up and done correctly, you will be able to use the reporting feature within the system to able to get more details. We currently have 2 reports under student services category. If you search by a filter keyword that says work space placement, which I've done it in the screen here, it will just help you narrow down the search, and you will see 2 reports: work placement, work placement with employer and activity details. So this one provides you all the details on what are the activities for the students that you have logged within the individual students' work placement activities. And the next report basically provides you the student work placement with only employer details. So you get to see both the details, pull out the report, and make modifications as it is required to be done. Now, what have we learned today for the student placement optional module is we've kind of learned how you can configure from the course, subject, and the employer phase, how you can manage, which means how you can enroll a student into those work placement, how you will be able to track the progresses, activities, and mark the attendance for the student. So that will kind of help you monitor what the progress of the student is. I've also attached or basically put through the user guide link for you to go and have a look on more details about the visuals, the images within the system that you have for the user guide. And if you're looking to activate this student work placement optional module, where you have the courses you are offering work placement, but have not got the student work placement module yet, then you can send your request to support@meshgroup.com.au to get started. This is ideally, the activation is once up. So as you request, as it comes through the process, the team will be able to activate in a short duration of time. And big thank you to everyone who's joined today. If you have any questions or concerns regarding the module, you can reach out to our support team as you normally do, support@meshgroup.com.au, or you can call us on 1300 543 512.